guy, right? Actually, I got a chance to meet him last Friday in Washington, D.C. I got a chance to meet him, shake his hand. It was a dream come true. He's been my idol for so long. But after I left, I was left with this weird, sort of cold feeling inside. It was almost as if he was a little pretentious, somehow a little distant. I said, how's this possible? This is my hero. I went onto Wikipedia. Sure enough, he's a Harvard grad. Perfect sense. Columbia too. Columbia grad, undergrad. So that's not bad. So while I was on Wikipedia, I checked it out. How many presidents has Cornell had? Must be a ton, right? We're a great university. How many do you think we've had? 0. 0. Don't know. Even Stanford had. Where's Stanford? Yeah, Stanford. Yeah. Shut up. It's your 100th year with Stanford, all right? You got it. It was just one, all right? One puts you in such esteemed levels as Southwest Georgia State University, Whittier College, and of course, Eureka College. Eureka, which is a great university. I have no idea where it is. This guy, though, Ronald, the great communicator, man of vision, man of leadership, man with a tan. This sunburnt Californian, does this remind you of anyone?
Howard.
Since I'm in the barber's term, like, yeah, give me a rake. Okay, this is interesting, actually. You know, he dropped out of Princeton before he went on to Harvard. So it's a hell of a safety school you guys run that. Until Yale. In fact, it seems like Yale, Princeton, and Harvard, those three, all over the Wikipedia page. If you want to be president, you should go to Yale, Princeton, or Harvard. So I wouldn't be too proud of yourselves yet, because not everything you make. No, but seriously though, ideally, so if you're building the ideal presidential candidate, what would you need? You would need somebody who went to Yale, Princeton, or Harvard. Maybe even 2 out of 3. Somebody's tall, presidential, maybe 6'3", 6'4". You know what I'm thinking? What does this have to do with alumni? Why am I here talking about politics? Well, first, my name is Svante Myrick, for those of you I haven't met. And in 2007, at the age of 20, I became one of the youngest elected officials in the country. And I was elected to Ithaca City Council. And this fall, if all goes according to plan, I'll be the youngest mayor in the country and the youngest mayor in an American city since 1945.
Woo!
If I have the help from my campaign manager, Howard Wolf. So, what does politics have to do with alumni affairs? I've actually found that there are quite a few parallels between the two. We'll speak about 3 specifically today. The first is that money matters in both. The second is that there is no cycle. There seems to be cycles, but there really isn't. And the third is that pushback is important, and if you're getting pushback, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Let's start with money. Money matters. Money matters in 2 ways, actually. Money matters first because it's the means of engagement. Second, because it's a metric of success. So money is a means of engagement. What does that mean? As a politician, the person who raises the most money does not always win the race, but they almost always win the race. Okay? Why is that? Because the person with the most money can afford the best staff. They can afford the most staff. They can afford the best ads, and they can afford to run them the most times. They can afford to reach the most people with their message. In alumni affairs, what does that translate to? The university that has the most money on hand can give out the most scholarships, can recruit and retain the best faculty, and can build the best facilities. Right? And if you have the most scholarships, the best facilities, and the best faculty, you're going to create a student experience that will lead to happy students and therefore happy alumni. If anything makes happy alumni. Some will, you'll never make it happen. That's important, right? Money becomes the means of engagement. There's a second way. Money is a metric of success. Money is not the only metric, but it's an important one. It can give you an indication of if what you're doing is successful as a politician. If somebody gives you money, it means that they either believe in who you are as a person, what it is that you're saying, or what it is that you stand for. If you have a hard time convincing people to give you money, that should be an indication that either you're saying the wrong things, you stand for the wrong things, or you're just not the right candidate. So you'll know well before election time what your chances are. The same is true in alumni affairs. Right? Alumni who are not happy with the institution, or not happy with your performance, will not give you money. Right? Some will just not give you money, period, because they're stingy, but we can't worry about this. So that's how money matters. Money matters because it's a means of engagement, and it's a metric of success. Now the cycle. Let's talk about the cycle. The first speech of Barack Obama's re-election bid, his 2012 re-election bid, happened November 2008 when he accepted in Grant Park in Chicago his victory speech. Think about that. The man had been running for 2.5 years, raised $600 million, and he didn't even get one night off before his running time. If that sounds brutal, it's because it is. If it sounds familiar, it's because it is. Any of you work with reunions? Right. I finished reunion 2011. When do you start working on reunion 2012? Before you even get to reunion 2011. There is no cycle. When you look at the calendar, you may think, oh, ebbs and flows of opportunity. We've got a conference here, and then another one here, and we've got an event here. So I'm sure I'll have downtime in there. So, anyone? So as long as you recognize that there are no cycles, and you anticipate that, you'll be successful both in politics and in alumni affairs. You won't get disgruntled. So there is no cycle. The last one, pushback. And this is an interesting one. Pushback means you're doing the right thing. And this is counterintuitive in both alumni affairs and politics. I think our instinct is to not rock the boat, to do what we've always been doing. But if you look at the greatest accomplishments, the things that have changed this country politically, were met with huge, fierce waves of opposition. If you look at the Civil Rights Act of 1964, when President Lyndon Johnson signed it, he said, and this is his famous quote, immediately as he signed it, he said, "We just lost the South forever." We being the Democrats. And he's been right to date. If you look at the electoral map since 1964, solidly red in the South. But I would argue, and I hope few would argue against me, that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is one of the greatest legislative accomplishments of the last 50 years. You can go back even further. The fight for women's suffrage, the fight for women to have the right to vote, lasted not months or years, but decades. Decades. Even further, the political fight to end slavery erupted in the Civil War, which killed more American soldiers than any war before or since. Even further, the founding of this country, the Declaration of Independence, right, the Revolutionary War. We think of that as one big strategy refresh, or reimagining, or those are the things that politically you get pushback on, because those are the things that matter. You know what doesn't get pushback politically? When your congressman renames your post office the Dwight D. Eisenhower post office. Like when your senator brings home a report every year. Those aren't controversial, because they don't cut to the core of who we are and what we do. Now, alumni affairs, you can think of it as the same thing. The happy hours that we've always put on, those are the post office renamings. Right? They're necessary. Every post office needs a name. And every Thursday night needs a happy hour. We know that. But the real things, the things that are going to change the way our alumni see themselves in relation to their part in our university, are going to be difficult. And you've probably seen this if you've ever tried to revamp a major reunion event. Right? You ever try to change an online platform, change the way people receive their messages from the university. You've probably seen this. People freak out. And that's a hard thing, because both politicians and alumni affairs staff are people pleasers. It's what we're here for. So when somebody's upset with us, it's very easy to get caught. But I would say, as long as you remember that lesson. Remember that the best things we can do, the largest changes we can make will always be met with resistance. So that's it, right? So those are the three things. Money matters, probably more than ideally it would, should. There is no cycle, it's just one endless, brutal slog. And if you're doing your job right, people will always hate you. It sounds like fun, so what? It sounds like fun, so far. So why, motivational. So why do we do this then? Why do we run for office? And why are we sitting here? Why do we serve this constituency? And I posit it's because we love them. We love the people we serve. And we love the institutions that we serve. We believe in what we do, and that what we're doing will make this world